Evening team, bit of an update from me tonight on the sewer treatment plant issues that, as you know, I've all been following all day. Well, not all day, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so Council sent through a copy of the presentation that was presented in Council last Thursday, and I'm putting those pictures up online with this post, and I'll put the PDF on the website shortly. I had a very interesting phone call from a fella in Auckland who specialises in deodorising large spaces like sewage treatment and organics plants, and has the right stuff for that. I've put that information online as well. Had an interesting conversation with a gentleman talking about the plastic covering, the melted plastic covering on the top of the trickling filters. That means we can't deodorise that facility currently. And the talk in Council, of course, was that they couldn't put the fire out because the plastic had melted and they couldn't get water to it. Well, of course, at the time, they couldn't get a crane over the top of it. They couldn't smash some holes in the top with an axe to actually get water into the top of that facility because there was an active fire burning underneath it. The question does now occur that they could actually cut some holes in the top of that to get some deodorizer or neutralising agents in there. So that's another question to go back and have another ask a bit more about. I'm also intrigued to understand more about why we can't cut these things off from the sewer network and get rid of that metre's worth of waste that's sitting in the bottom of that, because of course it'll be evaporating off in the warm weather and reactivating the organic process that's happening on those trickle filters. So there's still some questions around that I'm intrigued to understand more about. We also got an excellent update this morning from Celeste Donovan, who is the councillor for the coastal ward, who's been following this very closely. She's a keen environmentalist and a member of the Green Party, I think. Good friend of Sarah Templeton and Mike Davidson, I think. So anyway, her post has provided some really good feedback on what this air quality monitoring stuff means. Much better, in fact, than the council's own comms, in my view. But they different documents and they serve different purposes. For people who are not really across this issue, the council's newsline briefing is probably quite good. For people who are easily reassured by whatever council have got to say, it is again probably quite good. For people who are sceptical and want a bit more detail, then Celeste's post is definitely the next place to step off. And there is a link on one of the posts in the page, in the group page there at present, and I'll try and add that to this post as well. Had another gentleman come and have a pop over. Listen, heard me on the radio this morning, rang the radio station, asked my details. Folks, my details are on the social media page, and if you want to ring me after tea time is just fine. My phone goes to do not disturb after that, and if you go straight to the voicemail message, it means that I'm busy and I don't want to talk to you. But my phone number is there, so just give me a ring. I don't mind chatting to people, as you can probably tell if you follow me on the radio. So anyway, this gentleman came over and he was quite intrigued to understand more about the suction sewer systems because he lives in my area and he's also affected by sewer issues with respect to infill around the Richmond Shirley area, which also affects Aranui and over in Prestons. So there's quite a bit of interest in that area as well. So this really is all becoming about building community, and it's becoming about just helping each other work through these issues. Of course, my home is my biggest investment, my family's biggest investment, like yours. So we're all really concerned about what happens about good sewerage investment. Also had an intriguing conversation and found out that we have a very common theme in our city about being a bit concerned about the lack of redundancy with our sewer systems. And there are lots of people, the Becker Carters of this world, the engineers who like to, the comment that was used was suck councils dry for money. And I'd believe it too. I'm using an engineer currently to do some work on my own house, and they are very expensive fellows, I can tell you. So he was having a bit of a chat to me today about the issues of a second plant in the city and what sort of redundancy looks like. So that's something else that I'm going to throw on my ever-growing in basket to have a bit of a think about and decide what that looks like and who we talk to, because moving forward we can't have a situation again where we have a sewage facility burning down in the 21st century. That is just ridiculous. So we need to make sure that we're future-proof for that, in my view. And, if people just stand around and expect everybody else to do it, there'll be no one actually doing it. There'll be just lots of people standing around. So I guess I better take the hint and get on with it. Anyway, that's my update for the day. Have a great night, folks. And you'll hear from me probably later in the week. See ya.